Alternator on a 2005 Chevy Equinox, the 3.4 liter, and on mine the engine cover just pops right off. I see somewhere you have to unscrew the oil fill, but so this wire here to the EGR valve and tube, this needs to come off because it's connected to this wire harness here. So you're gonna have to pull this harness out of the way to get that out. So I'm gonna start by taking this off, and then I'm gonna pull out the map sensor and like your idle hose here. There's 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm gonna do here first, and then I'll do these last before putting the cover back on. Alright, so I got that unplugged, got this unplugged, this valve unplugged, and then this I had to pull up and then pull it out to get that out of the way, so I'm moving that. And then right here it's connected to the idler or something, but that's part of this harness, so I'm unclipping that. And then this hose comes through, and that's going to be blocking it, so that this clip goes onto there. And I don't know if I can pull this hose out here, but I'm thinking I'm just going to unbolt the whole thing right there on that bolt, because I don't know about pulling this hose off. I think I could pop it off, but I'm just going to play it safe and get that off out of the way. So I was trying to unplug this right here, but it was hard. I don't know. I'm going to try and take it out once I get that far without having to move that cable. But right now I pushed that rubber piece back and I took out, and I'm taking this nut out with a 14 or 13. And then I'm going to pull the electrical power to the alternator, which is why I took out the battery. There's a little corrosion in there, but yeah, that's just, I should clean up. I'm going to be cleaning up after I'm done with this. And I also unplugged that plug in the back. It actually came out surprisingly easy, so I got those two off. And now I'm going to get the 3 bolts. So there's one right there, there's one back down in there, and then there's going to be one on the other side. So this is where it is. A lot of models, they say you got to take this out. I don't know, mine seems pretty far over, so I'm going to try and I did unplug all this right here, so I'm hoping just unplugging that harness of this stuff that I just kind of threw out of the way right now, and I unplugged that because that was part of it. Hopefully that gets me enough room. I'm not liking this cable. There's a couple ideas I have if it comes to that, but right now I'm going to focus on the bolts. I might take the belt off first. Before I pull, the tensioner goes down in there. On the thing, there's a 3/8 spot for it. So before I do that, I'm making a diagram of where the belt goes. So the belt comes up from the underneath side of the pulley, goes around the alternator, underneath that pulley right there, comes over on the top. It's coming in right there on the top of this pulley, and it's going on top of that one, and then it comes, there's another pulley down there, which the belt comes on the top side of that pulley going to the bottom side. and then back to the tensioner pulley on the bottom. Hopefully, yeah, so I'm going to be careful just to take the belt off the alternator, so try and keep all the other pulleys where they are. Alright, so I did unclip this. I pulled it out just to give me a little more room, and to get to that back bolt, I sprayed it with PB Blaster, and I used a 15, and I got it back in here, and I just went slowly, but once I cracked it, and I just held it on with my finger, and I turned it slowly. And you can't take the bolt all the way out because there's a bolt on top that hits it, which is why I had to use this, and I couldn't get a socket in there that was shallow enough and to get a wrench to turn in there, so that's how I'm going to plan on tightening it back up. Alright, so I got the new one installed. That was the bolt, and then the bolt back there. I had a hard time getting this in between where it fits. I had to wire brush it down and take a rubber mallet and hammer this in, and I put a wood block on here and I hammered the back one in. And to get the belt back on, the belt tensioner, the serpentine belt, is down here. And then the bar that I had, it kept getting, that's as much leverage as I could put to pull the tensioner out. So I had to cut my serpentine, my tensioner bar. So when it's down there, I could push out the tensioner to get slack for the belt, because otherwise I was hitting here. So I had to modify a tool, but I mean, this tool is not that expensive, so that was the only way I could get enough slack for that belt. And then I put that back on, put these plugs back on. I did have to take this out to get room to fuck around with the belt, so whew, yes. It's in. I took it for a test drive. There is that third bolt going down. I don't know what it does, but there's no, yeah, I don't know if that needed to be taken out, but yeah, it'll fit in there. It's just, you gotta jam it in there. And then, yeah, you got, and then there's your power plug, and then there's the connector in there that actually came in pretty easy, but that's where it's located. Yeah, it's about, I forget that I had a couple other things that gave me problems, but I mean, it's doable. It took me a little while, but I got her in there. The fucking mailman put my alternator in the wrong people's mailbox, so I had to wait to get the alternator, which pissed me off, but it should be in. And about had it with this car. Chevy Equinox, a 3.4. Alrighty.